The case of controversial pastor Timothy Omotoso will resume in the Port Elizabeth High Court today, and this follows the dismissal of an application to compel the state to provide further particulars on the charge sheet. Omotoso and co-accused Lusanda, Sulani and Zukiswa Sitho face a total of 97 charges between them. Well, those your news headlines, and that concludes news here on Morning Live, at least. So you can keep up to date on the various SABC platforms, including SABC News Online. Right, with that, let's take a break. We come back. We're going to talk about cancer as well later on in the show. But right now, we are actually going to go to Port Elizabeth, and that's where our reporter Jayed-Leigh Paulse is, and this in connection with the Omotoso case. And Omotoso suffered a double blow in court yesterday. His legal team's application for more exact details of the crimes that he's alleged to have committed needed to be added to the indictment was dismissed in the High Court yesterday. Now, the defense said that the charge sheet was too vague with regard to dates and times of these alleged offences, and Omotoso was also served with papers declaring him a prohibited person in South Africa. So for the latest, we cross now to Jayed-Leigh Paulse, who's at the High Court in Port Elizabeth. Jayed-Leigh, good morning. So tell us a little bit about the atmosphere outside court this morning, as yesterday we saw supporters of Omotoso singing outside the court as they had been all week.
Well, that's very true, Sakina. One could say that this is the third day of the Timothy Omotoso trial, and this is where all the action starts now. We've seen all the applications being dealt with, but today we'll hear whether we'll see witnesses take to the stand or whether there'll be further applications brought. It's fairly quiet here outside court, if Kobani can just show the viewers back at home. Relatively quiet. There's no Jesus International Church members, a group of people. We're still unsure if those people belong to the church. We haven't seen any civil society or political parties coming out yet, but it's still quite early, Sakina. It's only 20 to 9, and we should be seeing the various people flocking to the Port Elizabeth High Court in the next half an hour or so. Usually they come just before the trial starts and they hoist their placards, in support for their particular groups, that being either Timothy Omotoso or Cheryl Zondi and the other witnesses who are yet to take to the stand. But a lot of drama yesterday when we saw the defense being dismissed, their application being dismissed by Judge Irma Skuman, saying that the state had provided enough particulars. You would know that there had been 2 pre-trial conferences last year, and Judge Irma Skuman saying in her ruling that should the defense wanted more particulars, they should have indicated in those pre-trial conferences that they needed more information. So she dismissing those applications, saying that what they had was enough to go by. They could draft up their defense, and they could also draft up an alibi with the different dockets with regards to what was on the indictment. So today, day 3, and we're expecting a lot of firework inside the Port Elizabeth High Court. Sakina.
Well, thank you so much for that scene setter there, our reporter Jayed-Leigh Paulse outside the High Court in Port Elizabeth. And of course, we'll be giving you updates here on SABC throughout the day in that particular case.